Hello to my Virgo rising friends, and welcome. I'm Lisa from Trails Edge Astrology, and this is your astrology and tarot horoscope for this beautiful new moon in Cancer, which is happening in the early evening on Friday, July 5th. So, new moons shape the scope of the month, which is why we look at new moons and why I like to cast forecasts around the new moon. The new moon in Cancer is always about big energy, big feelings, sensitivity, imagination, dreaminess, looking for security sometimes. Sometimes it's like it's all the emotional, it's all the feels. So, um, for you, my Virgo rising friends, that energy is happening in your 11th house. So you always have Cancer in your 11th house. Um, and this time of year, there's always a new moon that illuminates that space. So, or I guess invites in new opportunities in that space. So, your 11th house is about friends, community, supporters, good luck, good work, all of those kinds of things. It's about starting to be able to see things that have been hidden and make use of them. So, a beautiful space to have a new moon and to invite in some new moon intentions. The new moon is co present with the Mercury Pluto opposition, which happened earlier this week. If you want to learn more about that, I did a 1 minute astrology on that on Wednesday, I believe. And so you can hop back over there and learn more about it. But for you, let me check and make sure this is right. The Mercury Pluto opposition um, is happening in your 6th and 12th houses. And your sixth, Pluto in particular, is in your 6th house. So there's some transformation going on over the long term. Pluto's going to be in Aquarius in that spot in your chart for the next 20 years. So um, some reformation of your daily habits, your work habits, your work routines, your fitness routine, your health. 6th house is also about health, um, and sometimes illness. So if you're not feeling well, certainly go to the doctor, take care of that. But there's probably, when there's an opposition like this, there's some ability to see things, or some uh, oppositions are by their very nature putting planets at the exact opposite ends of the zodiac. And so the planets have the same mission in terms of the 6th and 12th house. That mission is service and figuring out how to serve the greater good, in the 6th house through analysis and daily routines and the things we do in the world. And in the 12th house, it is really about, in the 12th house, that service is really about like breaking down the silos and tapping into the cosmic consciousness. So there's something about that kind of energy that is also coloring this 11th house new moon for you. So something about service and friendships and daily habits and how you show up in the world is probably being invited in during this new moon in Cancer. We also have a Mars sextile Saturn during this, or right before this new moon. So that's also going to be a piece of this energy. And when Mars and Saturn talk to each other, Mars likes to go fast, Saturn likes to go slow. Mars stirs things up, Saturn kind of calms things down. Mars is hot, Saturn's cold, that kind of thing. But when they're sextile to each other, they're working together. And so they're trying to help you take all of these big feelings and all of these like abstract kinds of ideas and emotions coming up in your body and give it some structure. And so I think that Mars Saturn sextile will give us a little discipline around this moon, and hopefully help us kind of ground whatever it is we're feeling into in this time. We have a Venus Chiron square also with this new moon, and Chiron is the place of our deepest wounds and where we are the greatest teacher. It's a place that sometimes we can't heal for ourselves, but because of that, we are able to really share with the world in a beautiful way that we couldn't otherwise if we didn't really understand what the wounding was. Venus aspects are always in some way harmonious. Squares are tend to be a creative tension, are not always like seek some resolution. And so I hope that Mars Chiron, or I'm sorry, that Venus Chiron square is a balm to the feelings and the emotion, and not kind of throwing some salt in the wound. Could probably go either way. And the big elephant in the room, if you will, around this lunar cycle is that we have a Mars-Uranus conjunction in Taurus coming up on July 15th. So it's the energy's not exact. We'll probably really start to feel into it next week, but it's still there, and it's still something we need to think about and really grapple with during this lunar cycle. So Mars and Neptune, or I'm sorry, Mars and Uranus meeting in Taurus happens in the house where the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction occurred, and the ruler was the ruler of the eclipses. So lots has happened in this Taurus house in everybody's chart. And for you, Virgo rising, that Taurus house is your 9th house. And so I wonder if there aren't some rumblings that you've been feeling this spring about travel or learning, maybe going back to school, maybe writing a book. It could be about your beliefs or what's true for you, or your faith or your wisdom. Any of those kinds of things are kind of like stirring up, and are there places where you can really jump off and really start the next 14-year cycle around this? So we had all that energy in April, but there wasn't so while there was the initiation, there wasn't the spark to get us moving. Some things have happened since then, and I think this Mars-Uranus conjunction could be one of them that helps us get off the mark and get on to whatever it is we are trying to build. So, so Mars-Uranus conjoining in your 9th house. Again, is there a trip coming up, or are you engaging with people that you don't usually engage with? Are you learning something new? Did you find a new teacher? That can be another piece of the 9th house. New learning opportunities, any of those kinds of things. Like stepping into a new opportunity around those abstract thoughts and the higher mind and all that kind of good stuff. So I guess I will say the 9th house is also the house of astrology. So yeah, there's some astrological learning or teaching that you are wanting to do in this time. So, with all of that, and Virgo risings, I know that the unexpected is not always what you want. You are methodical, you are analytical, you've got a process, and there might be some unexpected stuff coming up, some sparks. So Mars in Taurus is a bull in a china shop, and Uranus is a cattle prod for that bull. So there is the potential for something to shift in your world, or something to open up. And I think the important part is to remember that unexpected things are not always bad. It's just different. And that if our well-trodden plan doesn't work out, maybe there's another place to go, or a plan that can be enacted. And so there might be some ruffles around the middle of the month. So I just want you to be really prepared for that, and engage with it in whatever way is most appropriate. And remember that unexpected changes are not always bad changes. All right, so let's look at what the cards have to say for you and how to work with this new moon energy. All right, we are using the Mind's Eye Tarot by Olivia Rose. And this is a deck I got probably a month or so ago, and I just love the art. So I've been using it really regularly, and so I'm using it today. I'm doing a spread that I don't think I've done on this channel, but it's one that I almost always do for the new moon. So I hope you like it. Let me know. And then we'll do an oracle card pull at the end to kind of like show you some culminating energy around this new moon and this Mercury Taurus conjunction and everything else, how all of this is coming together in your life right now. All right, so let's look at cards. So the first card, and you have you have some strong energy here. 3 major arcana showing up in our deck, or in our spread here. So so it could be an eventful, in an excellent way, of course, kind of time. Something monumental, I think. So where are you now? Let me move this over so I can make sure you can see the card. Where are you now? You are the star right now. And the star energy is about making a wish. It's about like wishing upon a star. Like, what is it that you want? Like putting out there in the universe whatever the dream is, whatever it is that maybe you even don't think you can have it, but just like your heart is calling for it, it's longing for it. And so there's some part of you right now that has a wish, that has a hope, and you and yeah, maybe you fulfilled it, maybe you haven't, maybe you know how to step into it, maybe you don't. This feels very much Taurus in the ninth house kind of energy. Like there's, like, you know, it's there, you can feel it, but that Virgo rising is so practical and so down to earth and so, like, you know, got to play by the books. But there's just, your heart's calling for something new, for some new adventure. And so, yeah, that's where you're now. Um, what's blocking your growth in this process? What's blocking your growth in the process is the 10 of Cups. And the 10 of Cups is the happily ever after card. And so I wonder if this wish, whatever you're like hoping for and wishing for, you're stuck on this because you think that there's a happy ending, or that there's a, like, everything will be tied up in a neat little bow. And there's something about tying yourself to that happy ending that that's blocking your growth. So that's not letting you move forward in the way you need to. Like, you may have a vision for what this looks like at the end, like in Virgo, you know, in Virgo rising style, you've got the next 63 steps planned out, and so you know what that endpoint looks like, and there's something about that particular endpoint that might be blocking your movement in this lunar cycle. Like, maybe there's a turn here that if you can release this, like culminating energy that you see and feel, that maybe there's a place. So if you can release that a little bit, maybe there's a different endpoint or a different way to get to where you're going, that this lunar cycle, this Mars Uranus conjunction, and all of this energy can bring you to. So something about releasing that endpoint, that happily ever after, might not actually be the happily ever after you think it will be or you want it to be. What intentions will help you move forward? This is interesting. The Emperor came up, and the Emperor is about our structures and sometimes the status quo, maybe the sacred container that things are in. And so I think in your intentions during this lunar cycle, maybe there's, you know, there's a dream, there's this happily ever after, and but maybe it's not grounded in reality. Maybe it's not grounded in the, like, I've got to pay the bills, I gotta, you know, I gotta do the laundry, I gotta wash the dishes, whatever that is. You know, maybe there's not a firm enough foundation underneath it. And so I wonder if the intention during this cycle might be to make sure that the ground is stable underneath you. Mars and Uranus can in Taurus can make the ground feel unstable. And so I wonder if your invitation this month, or the intention that you might want to set this month, is to build a firm foundation and to create a structure that is stable and will support whatever it is you're trying to bring in, whatever it is you're trying to build. What knowledge do you require? This is gorgeous. You require the sun. So know that there is abundance in the world, there is beauty in the world, there is a place where you are able to shine your light and make your magic, whatever that looks like. And I know a lot of times Virgo risings are not the ones who necessarily want to be out there in the world, but there is a place and a way. Know that if you dream but don't get caught up on the end cycle, if you build the strong foundation that there is abundance, there is growth, there is warmth, there is light. So there's something, even if it's not the exact endpoint you think of, even if you need to traverse a different path, or like release the fixed nature or the rigidity, or the strategic plan that you have got mapped out. If you need to release that a little bit and think about it a little more creatively, there's abundance, there's light in that. And then finally, what is the emerging positive energy? And the emerging positive energy is the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles is related to reciprocity and generosity, and the idea of not holding everything for yourself, but really having this free flow of resources. Pentacles are material goods, and the Six of Pentacles is about the free flow and exchange of those resources and of those tools, and really being generous, sort of like the pay it forward kind of energy. So the emerging positive energy, I think, is that there's some reciprocity for you, that either you give to somebody else and it comes back to you in threefold, or somebody else right now is giving to you, and again, it will come back to you. Maybe there's a teacher, maybe there's a divine hand. Usually in the Six of Pentacles, I don't see it in this card necessarily, but there's usually, although maybe she's got angel wings, there's usually like a divine guidance to this reciprocity, to this exchange of goods of value. So some, if your heart is open, if you're willing to be, to be flexible with the end point, there is some good and some support that I think you can expect. But you may have to go first. You may have to be the first one to make the overture, and to give of whatever you're trying to build, in order to set the ball rolling in that. But definitely nice positive energy, some kind of reciprocity, or some kind of like philanthropy potentially coming your way. All right, and then our oracle card is going to be from the Season of the Witch. So this is the Litha edition, and Litha is the summer solstice, and it I usually read, so the solstice was on the 20th, and I usually read solstice energy through the first moon cycle, through the first new moon in Cancer, just because I just feel like the energy permeates. The solstice is a solar event, but the lunar events really drive our day-to-day stuff. So I have continued to read from the Litha deck, and for this energy, you got the Horse. Let me grab my glasses. The card says, unsure of how to break out of your cage, Spirit shares strength through acts of liberation. So unsure of how to break out of your cage, Spirit shares strength through acts of liberation. And from the book, it says, when the Horse card gallops into your reading, it could be a sign that your spirit is broken and that you have lost your sense of regality and strength. You may feel stuck, stagnant, bored, or stuck in a rut, unsure of how to break out of your cage and find more passion and excitement. Dig deep to reconnect with your sense of freedom. Remove the shoulds and supposed tos from your perspective, and follow your heart's instincts, which may not be hard or may not be easy as a Virgo rising. That's not always the practical way of doing things. This goes on to say, the beauty about being free is that you can change your mind. If you go one way and find that it doesn't work, simply shift directions and try something else, and never apologize for not being caged. So yeah, some kind of freedom-seeking energy here, that's saying that, maybe your happily ever after isn't actually your happily ever after. What happens if you shift or balance, or you just work on building that firm foundation, and then see where that takes you? So, Virgo risings, if you're still here, I would very much appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, share this information, share my channel with others. It helps the channel grow. It helps me get my message out. It lets me know you're out there. So I keep doing these things. And yeah, take what works, leave the rest. Let me know how this sits with you. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.